this, but Matt blew another tranny. This time an Earl.
Named Earl? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Okay, so we made it to Matt's. There's Matt. Right, that one's Matt.
Yeah, not me.
And we came all the way over here to ask the man himself. Matt, why do you keep blowing trannies?
I try to stay away, but I just can't.
Happens to the best of us, you know?
You do
Yeah.
too?
I've done it before. Yeah.
Will you do it again?
Without a doubt, it's going to happen again. I just don't want it to be in front of a bunch of people. That's because I get shy. That's my thing.
I don't do it on camera. It usually happens off camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, you think you know a guy, right?
So,
What?
Yeah, anyway.
Anyway, we came over to get Earl because, well, she's seen better days. When Matt bought Earl, it was a completely bone stock truck, and it's put in a pretty good amount of work.
Yeah.
We've done a few upgrades. We did a free spin kit on it. We put a protect plate in the valve body, and I think that's kind of got it to where it is.
Head
I don't know.
studs. What else?
A couple doodads.
Yeah.
Head
Free spin
studs,
kit.
ball
Little
joints.
tune.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got the
Got it
trains to
running
kind of
right.
shift, best it could. I think it's got about 200,000 miles on it now,
A
doesn't
little
it?
bit over, yeah.
Yeah, so bone stock 68. The early 10 to 12 trucks had valve body erosion issues, so to make 200 and something thousand miles on a 35, stock gears and putting in some work, it's about par for the course.
Yeah.
So, it's time. This is kind of a road you inevitably cross with any diesel-powered truck, especially a Dodge, if it makes any kind of power. And so we enlisted the help from the guys over at Randy's Transmission, and they have hooked us up. So we have a brand new Stage 1 in the box.
Whoop. Oh, yeah.
And we're going to drag Earl over to the shop and tear this thing down and put a new transmission in it. We're waiting on the trains to show up for wrench tang so that we can be really ugly to it because we got more trains than we need. And this Stage 1 should be more than what we need for Earl. I mean, it's rated for, I think, 450 horse.
Yeah, 500 horse maybe?
So it's about what a tuned Cummins will make on stock fuel, stock air kind of thing. And, we're pretty excited. Matt wanted something that was going to shift good and not be very intrusive, so it has a stock drum in the front, so that 3/4 shift is going to be just the same kind of quality and feel that it was as a brand new transmission. Now they do stack the drum thicker. It's got better clutches in it. All the tolerances are set right, and all the other clutch packs have been improved. We've got a billet lower half on the valve body, billet flex plate, a nice converter. So it's going to be a nice setup. It should work out really good for what you're doing with it.
I wasn't listening to what you were saying, but I wanted the truck to drive forward in a few gears, and then I also wanted to have one backwards gear.
Okay.
That's
I
what
think
I'm
we're going to hit this one out of the park.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
All right, well, I'm in Earl, and I'm kind of curious to see what we got going on. So far, I've got first and second gear. I think I've even have third gear. Got a little third gear converter lockup now. I just wanted to know what happened. One of Matt's guys was saying, oh, there we go. Yeah, that 3/4 shift. There's where the damage is. Yeah, so the UD-OD drum in this thing is gone. All right, well, I've been on the side of the road now about, this is probably number 10 from Matt's house, so I've made it just a few miles, and what ends up happening is I can go into gear, takes a second to engage, I can shift manually if I'm very gentle. I can get first, go to second, and then I gotta hurry up and get to third. And tow haul on, locks the converter. Now I've got third gear converter lock. That's all I'm gonna get. And this only lasts for a little bit. And then you gotta slow down and sit on the side of the road for a little bit. Cycle the key, fire it up, throw it immediately into gear, try to start going again. Now if you apply any real power to second gear, it just slips really bad and you can't make it to third. And I've tried to get past fourth into fifth see if I could maybe get 6, but you've got a second clutch and UD/OD part of all those last couple of gears, and she's done. The input drum on this thing is done, and that's where your underdrive and your overdrive clutch packs are. And well, without them, you only got the first couple of gears and very little at that. I think the transmission filter's probably packed. I bet the fluid's solid black, and I bet the rest of it looks real bad. So anyway, wish me luck. Got a few miles left to go, and it's just started flaring again. It's just slipping and grabbing and slipping and grabbing. Got traffic behind me. People are mad. So close. Just over that hill is the shop. Come on, little buddy. Come on. It's too hot to walk. I just don't have any gears. The people behind me have got to be pissed. I would be. Come on, Earl. That's the shop right there. Made it to the shop. Didn't walk. I'm all the way down to first gear, and it's slipping. All right, guys. Made it to the shop. Thank God we didn't walk. Now we just got to find some room to get old Earl inside and get it right. Today is the day where, well, we replaced one of the trannies that Matt blew. You know, saying that never gets old.
No, it's just facts.
It just is. It's what Matt does. He blows trannies back to back to back. That's
2
his.
trainees in a month.
Yeah.
That's
No big deal, right? It's got to be a record. So today, I've already said this. We're putting transmission in Earl, and this one. Hang on. This camera's dumb. Oh, I'm flipping and flopping. Hold on. There we go.
You know,
Boom.
You know what this
Shakalaka.
trainee hasn't done?
What?
Been blown.
Oh, man. Well, hopefully Matt won't be blowing this one up. So he popped a 5R in the ranch tang, and, well, I don't know if he's the one who's driving this thing whenever it popped or not, but
It had to have been him.
driving on the way back over here was pretty miserable. I had to pull over on the side of the road every, 45 seconds? Turn the key
Yeah.
off?
Yeah, they only took us like 30 minutes to go 4 miles.
Yeah, Matt's house is not far from the shop, but I had to pull Earl over. There's quite a few people on 1376 who think I'm a insert bad word here.
This is going to be Matt's favorite koozie.
Oh, only trans. Sweet,
I can
dude.
see him with a White Claw in that. Dude.
Yeah.
He can be.
Dude, slamming claws, breaking laws.
Randy sent a full little swag pack here.
Yeah, dude, they hooked us
We got
up.
some
So we
hats.
sent a bag of goodies up to Randy's as well. Those guys have been really cool. They've hooked us up. They've had our back. Their customer support is outstanding. All your late model stuff, the 10-speed Duramax, Power Stroke, 6-speed Allison, 68 RFE, 5R110, 48 RE.
All of
I'm
them.
sure they can handle a 727.
Yeah.
Hit them up. Those dudes, they do outstanding work. If you haven't heard of Randy's Transmission, go check out some YouTube videos or some reels. There's probably some pretty aggressive burnout donut.
Insane videos. Yeah.
I remember seeing a video of Randy's dually that they just did almost 3,000 horse in.
Mm-hmm.
But they were out at like Moab or something, and they're leaving out of there, and he's in this four-wheel drive dually. It's got to be 10, 11,000 pound truck without a trailer behind it, and it's doing rolling burnouts on 35s, leaving on dry pavement with a trailer behind it, and it's got an ISIN in it.
Yeah.
That's one thing I didn't mention. They probably built the baddest ISIN on the planet.
Without a doubt.
So go check them out, randystransmission.com. So this has got your basic upgrades on the inside. It's got like a valve body separator plate, all the valve body mods that it takes, new solenoid pack. So they have flat sanded the valve body, oversized switch valve, all the things that typically go wrong with a 68 have been taken care of in this. Upgraded sprag, it's got upgraded clutches. This is a solid unit. This does have a stock input shaft in it. it is getting a nice converter, but we're going to be doing late lockup, so fourth gear lockup, nice gentle transfile. What is it, a single disc?
Yeah, billet single disc.
So we've got a nice converter, nice little setup for your stock, to, I don't know, 450, 500 horse truck. This would work well. And they also offer options to upgrade this thing. In between this and their stage 2, you can do just a billet input shaft, you can do a drum, you can do whatever between this level and full tilt. Again, go check out their website for all their options, but we have sold and installed many of their 68s. They're outstanding.
Yes.
They shift really well. So, we got Earl over here on the rack. Getting ready to have the trans pulled out. We got our new guy Brian over here. Suit's a baller. He's rocking and rolling. And, we're fixing to get started on this thing. Pull the trans out. Hopefully nothing other than the transmission while it's here. Everything seemed to be okay. This truck kind of gets rode hard and put up wet, so we're definitely going to give it a look over while we've got it up in the air and make sure nothing else is wrong with it. But for the most part, a transmission ought to put it back on the road.
Yes, sir.
Let's rock. Okay guys, so whenever we were driving this thing on the way over here, you probably noticed I pulled over on the side of the road, I don't know, 25 times. And the main reason was that the trans that was in Earl, which is a stock trans that had a BD Protect plate in it, it didn't have 4th, 5th, and 6th gear. And the whole reason is because the overdrive clutch is completely gone in the front drum, which is a common problem with these transmissions. They have quite a few issues, from the low reverse brag to valve body erosion issues. This particular year was still the run of 07 to 12 where they were non-anodized valve bodies. So I'm certain it had problems there. Solenoid switch valves, just all on and on and on. So we got a stage 1 for Matt to solve 99% of the problems that you end up dealing with on a 68. The other 1% would be driver error at this point. So,
which Matt has a little bit of that, I think, too.
I mean, he's pretty good at breaking stuff. So he did say, though, I want to do a stock transmission, and we talked him out of doing that. We reached out to the guys over at Randy's and said, look, this is what we've got. This is what we want to do. We want to put a Randy's in the truck to upgrade over stock, so we don't have to worry about the same old bull hockey dealing with slippy, sloppy converters and, just bunk shifts and all that stuff. So their stage 1 comes with everything that you need to take a stock truck that is tuned. This truck probably makes around, 420, 440, 450 wide open, like most 6.7s will do on stock fuel and stock air. And that's what this transmission is really set up to do. So it's got a billet converter that's in it. You can get it in a single disc or a dual disc version. This is a stock style single disc because we're going for buttery smooth shifts. We're just going to tighten up the stuff over factory. Trans tuning goes a long way, and this unit does use transmission tuning. The cool thing about it is that the stock transmission file that we're using for the bone stock 68 is still going to work with this setup. It's just going to be a little bit more firm and a little bit faster shift time, and the drivability is going to be that much better. So we're dealing with either a RevMax or similar style input drum. It's got their custom clutch stack in the front, so UD OD reaction plate, and the clutches in the UD and the OD have all been upgraded. You've got a power pack in the 2C and a power pack in 4C. Those clutches are used throughout the transmission, depending on which range or what gear you're in. Will either apply an OD or a UD and a 2C or a 4C clutch. Upgraded low reverse brag, so you don't have to worry about that thing rolling over. That combined with trans tuning and all this setup that's inside this thing is going to be absolutely outstanding. Billet lower channel plate for the valve body. The Sonic's accumulator plate cover on the side, which is a thicker piece and uses more fasteners to keep all that stuff from blowing out at the side. New line pressure sensor, Mopar solenoid pack, turbine speed sensors. You're ready to rock and roll. This thing is ready to plug and play. So
we even got a deep pan on there.
Yep, comes with a deep pan as well. We opted for the stock input shaft, stock flex plate, because again, like I said, we're going to use late lockup strategy, so 4th gear lockup and unlock shifts. So it should never have a problem. with any of the stuff inside the trans or the converter. It's all upgraded. So hopefully this is the last transmission it'll ever need, and this is what we would recommend for anybody who's running a stock air, stock fuel on a stock or maybe 35-inch tire with stock gears. This is a 373 truck, 35-inch tire. This is the absolute limit of that setup, in our opinion. Once you go beyond that, you really need to go to a stage 2, and if you are running a bigger than stock tire on a stock gear, you really need to re-gear the truck.
Yeah,
So,
it's something nobody does is re-gear their truck, or very few do
it makes
anyway.
a tremendous difference. You can take a stock 68, and Steven's truck, for example,
Yeah, I was
has
fixing to say.
its own stock 68 in it. It's been tuned since day one. It uses lock shifts from 3 through 6.
On
but it's
37s.
on 37s in a mega cab, but it's got a 410 gear in it. And we could even go deeper, but the Trans has got about 100,000 hard miles on it. We've been up in the mountains. We've towed trailers, heavy trailers, dump trailers, loaded well past what they're legally supposed to be.
Yeah.
Goosenecks way overloaded. So anyway, from personal experience, a re-gear makes a humongous difference. Between a re-gear and a solid Trans, you really make something that will drag a trailer well and take some power whenever you need to do that. So we are going to get this thing off the jack, throw this one on here, get everything boxed up. Make sure whenever you ship something back that you drain the converter and you drain the transmission. So because the factory pan doesn't have a drain plug, we typically drop them off out of the truck, set them to the side, and use a mighty vac to pull all the fluid out. It's just a courtesy to whoever your builder is to not send them a pile of crap with fluid all over everything. So we're going to try to do that, and then make sure that the converter doesn't fall out by either using a long zip tie or something whenever you ship it back. It's just, you know, courtesy for your Trans builder. Make sure you do it. Let's rock. All right, guys, well, Brian made short work of that thing. Cooler flushed out perfect. Trans is installed. T-case, driveline, everything's back in. So we're going to top off the Trans with fluid. We use Mopar or Valvoline ATF4. And once we get that topped off, and we're seeing that we've made operating temp and that we're above the cold mark, but not all the way to full, you want to leave a little bit of room for thermal expansion when you go for a test drive. Once we know the fluid level's right, we're going to back the truck outside and make sure that we do a quick relearn on it. Then we're going to go for a cruise and make sure all the gears are hitting like they're supposed to. Check our fluid level again. It'll be time for Earl to go home. Okay, guys, so we got the Trans up to operating temp. I'm out here with Brian, and we got about, what, 20 quarts? 20 quarts on the money. And well, we're just letting it sit here. I just did a relearn. We've checked the dipstick 150,000 times. When you do a 68, you want to make sure before you do the relearn, before you pull it out of the garage, that you got plenty of fluid in the thing. Clear all the codes from the previous transmission. It's really critical that first relearn, all the initial steps that you do play a huge role in how long you can anticipate the transmission to last. So this is where you want to be patient. You want to make sure that you have some things going your way. No fluid on the ground, you flushed the cooler lines, everything is good and clean. You've made sure your dipstick tube is seated all the way where it belongs. You make sure you don't have weirdos like this staring over your shoulder the whole time. And we've done all that. We've checked everything. We made sure our fluid level was good. And so we're gonna pull the stick now, kind of show you what we're dealing with. So, we are sitting right about here. Now, whenever you're reading a dipstick, you want to read the lowest side of the stick. So sometimes the tube has a bend in it, right where the stick goes in, and your fluid's going to wick down that side, and it's going to read heavier on one side than it is on the actual fluid side. So it's important to pull and look at the stick. Brian's doing it again. We've been pulling and stabbing. I've done 1,068s, and I'll pull and stab the Trans dipstick, I don't know, 1,000 times a piece probably, just because I want to be certain before I do a relearn that I have ample amount of fluid. And if you've cleared the codes and you have plenty of fluid, whenever you pull up your scan tool or in Matt's case, this thing has an auto agent in it, you're gonna be able to see that line pressure looks consistent whenever you go to put that thing into gear, you put your foot on the brake. Let me show you that real quick. So right now I'm hooked up, and I just did a relearn, but I'm still hooked up to it. So let me exit out of my relearn, and we're gonna go to the dashboard. Got a little trans fluid on my thumb here, so it's being lazy. All right, so what I'm looking at right here is actual versus desired line pressure. So right now, those things are both sitting real cherry. We're going 123 to 128. I mean, we've got like a 1% variance. So I put my foot on the brake. I'm gonna try to do this all at one time, so bear with me. I'm gonna pull this into drive. Now I'm looking down here, and I'm looking to see if the line pressure is staying consistent. So I'm 99 to 101. It desires 100, and we're sitting right on the money. Now, it's a 5-volt reference sensor, and it's scaled where, you know, you're looking at small differences in voltage, which is what the computer's interpolating as line pressure. So if you have that little variance of a few PSI, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. So I typically cycle it into drive, back into neutral, and into reverse. And I'm looking down here to see where this thing's desired versus actual. Right now we're desiring anywhere from 209 to about 217, and actual is chasing that number the entire time. Trans temp is sitting at 129. I don't know if you can read that, but 129. Fluid's looking good, everything's cherry, everything's happy. Coolant temp's about 175. We are ready to go for a test drive. So whenever you get done with the 68, I don't care if it's bone stock or if it's a tuned truck, doesn't matter. You want to make sure you've got ample temperature in the trans and in the motor. You want to go out and drive. The rule of thumb is under 30% throttle, under 2,000 RPM shifts. Depending on how it's tuned, what kind of injector, turbo, tire size, all that, what you're trying to do is go as gentle as possible, but get the thing to go through the gears. There's really no such thing as spending too much time relearning a transmission. Once you've done a quick relearn, you know, you spend good money to build a transmission, so just spend a little bit of time letting the thing adapt to the new shift strategy, the new power, the new transition, if you've changed anything engine side or whatever. But you certainly don't want to take it, do a quick relearn, then hook it to your dozer on your 40-foot tandem axle gooseneck and just head off to, you know, Montana. So I'm gonna go drive this truck around. I'm gonna cycle the key off, let the computer completely power down several times during the relearn process. That way I give the TCM side of the PCM, the PCM and TCM are housed in one on your 2010 and up trucks, unless you have an ISN, and then it does its own thing anyway. But on a 68 RFE truck, any of them, you wanna power the thing down, give it time to go to sleep, and power it back up. That's how you're gonna get those CVI volumes to actually change, is give it ample time to power down and power back up. That's how I've always understood it, that's how I've always done it, and I've always had really good results. So if you spend good money on a trans, spend a good amount of time making sure that you do the things the right way. Monitor pressures on a scan tool. If you feel weird shifts or flares or bitey stuff, don't try to power through it. That's not the way to do it. You need to figure out what's going on. Either change the transmission file because you changed the UD-OD drum, and now you got, for instance, a Sonix drum. Those apply differently. When you have that 3/4 shift, you're gonna get a really hard bite. If you keep the same scaling that you have as far as fluid and shift timing, those gains, you're gonna get a noticeably different bite on that 3/4 shift. And that's mainly what we're looking for, is the 3/4. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5, 6. Those are all, they're generally speaking on any transmission, they're pretty consistent. It's the 3/4 shift that you're really looking for. You don't want a hard nosedive because then you've got too much overlap. You're dragging multiple clutches at one time. That's really hard on the OD clutch hub. That's how you break parts, and it's hard on the input shaft. So there's things to learn about it, but generally speaking, take your time on the relearn, take your time driving around, put a couple 100 miles on it, slowly work your way into power, and your transmission is going to last. So let's go for a test drive. All right, let's see how this thing runs. Rather how it shifts. Lock up, 3/4 shift, unlock shift, money. a solid 4.5. Money. All right, so we're test driving. We've done our relearn. Everything's great. Check the fluid level. What do you think, Steven?
I think this thing shifts amazing, and you don't have to stop and turn it off every 50 feet, which is also like amazing.
A lot nicer.
Yeah, much nicer.
So we got 6 forward gears and 1 reverse gear. Remember, Matt just wanted a couple forwards and 1 reverse. Well, we got you, fam. Say less. So the cool thing about Matt's truck is that it's got a well, this tuning company's no longer around, but UDT software, which was called user-defined tuning. And so we were able to go in here and change up the strategy on this thing by giving it different CAN commands. And I wish this stuff was still available. It sucks that it's not, but we went in here and we dialed it in and we told it that we wanted a 2-3 unlock shift, a 3-4 unlock shift, a 4-5 unlock shift, and then we went ahead and left the 5-6 locked.
Yeah.
It just feels right.
It feels great.
And the bottom line is, it's just cash money, brother.
Yeah, the
it's cash money.
transmission's built perfectly. The tuning's perfect. I need one of these in my truck now, and I'll be doing great.
The 10 to 12 trucks, these things really do shift really, really good with a good transmission. The 13 through 18 and even the late model stuff shifts good, but I just feel like a 10 to 12 is like, it's just the best. Look at this, watch this, watch. Like I know you can't feel what we're feeling in here, but the shifts are quick, they're smooth, it's perfect. Here comes 3-4. Look how anticlimactic the 3-4 shift is, bro.
My favorite.
My truck is violent.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're set up differently.
It's got a different drum in it. But the bottom line is, you can't go wrong with a transmission from Randy's Transmission. You just can't. And if you're driving a truck that's got a 68 RFE in it, you need to get with the program. Call us, call Randy's. We can get you took care of. All right, so we gotta work on Earl more than we thought. We thought we were done.
Yeah.
But we're not. Check this out, dude. Bro, first off, I'm always glad when Matt brings his truck here. Not because like it's any more fun than anything else, but you never know what you're gonna find. You're always like, how's the truck been? I mean, it's been good, man. You know, transmission started making some noise and, you know, yeah, needs a transmission.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no backstory.
No.
Like,
and everything was always good. It's still good, and then it just kind of
never had a problem. It's been great, and then pow, right in the kisser.
Yeah.
And then you get under here and you're like, well, what's this? That's been fully carved and dented in 1/4 of an inch.
Yeah, and the top over here.
Fuel tank's got drag marks on it. The diff's got drag marks on it. Here, take the camera. Show them the other side of the drive shaft.
Bro, that thing, it's hard to kind of see on the camera. It just looks like a mark, but that's like a 1/4 inch divot where it.
The drive shaft's not even round anymore, dude.
No.
It's egg-shaped.
And then something got stuck in the fuel tank skid plate, and they just drove until it judging by the amount of whip marks in it.
Yeah.
It spun 150 times.
Yeah.
So like they definitely heard.
You hear that? Tum, tum, tum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drive through it. Drive and keep giving it gas. So anyway, it's kind of hilarious, but at the same time, you get to make sure that the dude's stuff is solid. So like when you see that fuel filter right there, you can just tell by looking at that hasn't been changed in a while. Probably since whenever he bought it.
Look, they went ahead and broke the drain off the water separator. So you know they've never drained the water that it has in it out.
Water schmutter. And so when I saw that, I'm like, well, I better check the fuel filters. So I pulled the one under the hood. Well, and it's black. So that's done.
I need you to look at something that literally just happened to me.
What happened?
I touched the fuel filter.
Uh-huh.
And it pours from the top.
Wow.
All over me.
So that thing rock crawled too.
This is, if you get to this side, Willie, you can see it. It's pouring out from right here when I do that.
Oh, wow.
So.
Oh, that's done. All right.
It's a good thing I accidentally touched it.
Well, the transmission's great, but we're going to have to fix some of this other. So,
yeah.
Hold tight.
Yeah.